Hi, everybody. I'm David Yanez, and I am the co-director and producer of the Uptown at the Apollo show put on by San Jose Musical Theater. And tonight, I am so happy to be introducing you to Olivia Haley Young.
Hello.
Hey, Olivia.
Hi.
It's good to see you. Olivia, you know what? This is our one opportunity that we have for the audience to get to know you a little bit. So why don't you tell the audience about yourself?
Okay. So I was born into a family of artists. My dad's a photographer. My mom is an actor. And I was just drawn to art from a very young age. And I've explored it in many different ways. I've done a lot of musical theater, which I especially loved while I was going through like the end of middle school, high school. And then I went to a arts boarding school in the forest on a mountain because I was just so
neat.
into it. Yeah. And that was a really, really amazing experience, especially because of the people I met. They're some of my closest friends. They're from all over the world. And then I ended up in New York City. And and I'm only 20, so I'm impressed with myself for how I've already and I was training there for a while and just discovering, I think, what it means to be an artist has really come to me this past year during the pandemic, because I was so focused on my training and my work and getting into, I guess, what we call the industry in a very typical way. But over this past year, I just feel like I've been questioning how I've been doing things, because I'm like, I feel like art is art. It's not supposed to always be such, like, there's just been so much discipline in what I've been doing. And so I've been really just, I guess, trying to rediscover what it means to be an artist lately.
Okay, so what would you say then is, it sounds like you had a training track you're on, and that you had some like aha moments and some discovery about being an artist and what it means to be an artist. What would you say is the thing that is something that you hadn't thought of that you've learned that's new in regards to your artistry?
Yeah, I think I'm laughing because this is something that I work on as a singer, as an actor, but I think you have to just let yourself live. You have to let yourself be a person. And I know when you asked me the question, tell me about yourself, I instantly went into my arts training. But really, to be quite honest, it's because from quite a young age, I threw myself into intensive training. But lately, over the past year, I think the new thing I've really been discovering is my art and my life. They're so much better when I just allow myself to be myself and to do the art for myself, and not because I'm trying to impress anybody or get anywhere, and to live my life just as myself and not always as an artist. I think those are the biggest takeaways I've had.
Okay, well, great. Hey, okay, so you mentioned that you have been in theater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you've done some shows.
Mm-hmm.
What was your, this is a two-part question.
Okay.
What was your favorite part you played that you really, really liked playing? And what is the bucket list part that you gotta play?
Okay. So I think my favorite part, it ties. So I played Diana in a chorus line.
Nice.
And yeah.
I played Mike. I played Mike. I could do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's such an iconic show. But I loved singing What I Did for Love. I think I was 16 or maybe freshly 17.
Oh, wow.
And it was I just remember my parents were in the audience and I was at boarding school and they had to leave to fly back home. And I just really had one of those moments while I was doing that show. And then, but my other favorite role I played was, it's this random play. I went to art school. It's called The Learned Ladies. And I played this character named Armand, and she was just iconic, and I loved that. But it wasn't really a singing part. But my dream, like a role that I would love to play, what's interesting is I think with rediscovering myself as an artist, that has been shifting. But I guess I'll say every girl, every young soprano wants to play this, but I definitely would love to play Christine at some point. I have other roles too, but that is I'm saying that one because it's been consistent from when I was, starting out my training. It would be a cool role to play. I'm not going to lie.
Right. Phantom. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Now, you mentioned, that you mentioned your age. You're a young performer. What performers or artists do you look up to? Like, who do you sort of like look at and think, yeah, I like the way they've developed their career. I kind of like to follow that. Or who are your mentors, even if they're not directly, but they, from afar? Who are the people that you look to, that you sort of, you admire?
So does it need to be somebody who is like a famous actor or artist, or just anybody?
No, absolutely not.
I've lately been in so much admiration for my voice teacher, actually. She is probably one of the very few people who I think understands what I'm going through right now, because I decided not to go back to school, which is something for me, I would have never thought I'd be the person making that choice. But she did the same thing when she was younger, and like when she was like freshly an adult, 18, and she has so much compassion and care for people. And she's also just incredibly talented. But I really look up to her because she's found what works for her as an artist in a way where it serves the world and helps people. And I'm trying to figure that out for myself. I would like to do work that serves the world. I mean, I would like to do work as an artist, as an actor, as a singer that brings something to the world. And I haven't figured exactly what that means for myself yet, but I watch her and she tells me, when I was younger and I was training, they were training me to be like some kind, like to, go hopefully end up on Broadway as a leading, she's gotten auditions for that. It's not that it's out of her reach, but she said, I felt the best as a teacher because it served others and it just felt that was her path. And I admire that so much. And I hope to find that for myself as well.
Okay. Here we've been through so much this year, and there's been so much that's actually happened in show business, actually, for women and young women. What advice do you have for younger women that are watching? They're going to watch this contest, these young girls, they're in musical theater, they want to perform. What advice do you have for young girls that are getting started in theater, show business, arts? What do you have to say to them?
Two things. First of all, don't ever let go of don't ever do what you're doing for any other reason than the love that you have for it. That's always the most important thing. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're not feeling so good about it, then don't do it. The other thing is don't go with how things are going just because it's how they've been going for years in the industry. Don't be afraid to let your ideas out. Don't be afraid that just because you don't agree with how things are going, or because you have a new idea, that suddenly you're going to be rejected from the industry you want to work in, because that's not an industry you want to work in. So come to, whether it's the Broadway industry, film, dance, wherever you want to go as an artist, come with so much courage that you don't want to just be accepted into what you're doing, but you want to make it better. And I know that sounds so easy, but I've, even training, I've heard lots of things like, girls need to lose a certain amount of weight so that they can get into dance auditions easier. No, they don't. You need to look the way that makes you feel best. So there's so much that I think that as a young performer, and even unfortunately by teachers sometimes, that you get told, and then even me, I've been told so much by teachers that I think that it's right. And then I walk away and take a look back at maybe where I was training at that point in my life, or what I was doing. I'm like, but that's not right. That's just how it's been for years. But just because it's been like that doesn't mean that you don't have the power to change it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So much has changed with online and social media, and people really reinventing themselves, or sort of actually creating their own niche, on body types and, like personalities. We're seeing people make it who never would have made it, but because of social media, people are getting into and getting work.
Yeah.
It's actually really cool. All right. So here's the last question.
Mhm.
Right. Olivia, I want you to tell this audience. Oh, before we go here, let me do this first. This is a message to the audience. So you're going to see below us a URL that directs you to buy tickets for this show, Uptown at the Apollo. Show Ticks for You. You'll see that URL. You'll see some messaging at the end of this video that shows you how to purchase a ticket. And something tells me if you're watching this video, it's because you are an Olivia Haley Young fan, and she has sent this out, and you're watching it because you want Olivia to win. Well, when you buy a ticket, you can also tell Show Ticks for You that you're buying it because of Olivia. All right, so that's something that you definitely want to do. Watch out for the end of the video. You'll see some messaging there about show date, July 11th, show time, 7 p.m., how the voting is going to work. And so we want you to definitely watch out for that. So now that big question I've got for Olivia Haley Young, which is, Olivia, tell the audience why they should buy a ticket and watch you compete in this show.
Me personally?
Yes.
Because I was prepared for just everybody, but if it's just about me, like I said, I'm on my artistic journey right now, and I think that's interesting. I think that whenever I'm in an exploring where I am as both just a person in life and as an artist, there's always just a lot of interesting new things that come up. And honestly, I think that's why. And also because singing is just so healing for your soul and your body. So I think that if you just want to feel good for a little bit, you should watch me sing.
All right. All right. Olivia, it was absolutely a delight talking to you. And I'm so happy to meet you and learn more about you and your artistic journey. So everyone, please buy a ticket, support San Jose Musical Theater, and support Olivia Haley Young, all of our contestants. Come out and watch and vote, and let's see who wins this $1,000. Olivia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.